Okay, hello. This is Nick Dutch again. Just want to do a very short piece today on something called ontology. Now, the word ontology refers to the way that we use language and words to essentially define ourselves and define the way that the rest of the world is. That's putting it very simply. And essentially what I want to focus on today is the way that words are used by people in the religious and supernatural type scene. As I've mentioned before, the reason for me to make these videos is because spirituality, the supernatural, all these things are going to become much more important to human individuals over the coming years. It's pretty important now. It's going to go right through the roof. I understand that statistically speaking, people who believe in some form of other reality, such as a spiritual reality, God, angels, spirit guides, and all the rest of them, and anything else of an occult, prayerful, and all the rest of it nature, are in fact in the majority. Yeah, people like me are in fact the majority, Some people might even say that you should be afraid, be very afraid when you hear that, but no, it's true. Because of the growth of spiritual ideas and spiritualistic ideas is also the way in which people use language to describe things which exist or do not exist. I'm going to give you an example today of something which I overheard one of my friends talk about. She said that someone had told her that a evil spirit was directly affecting her relationship. So the person who had imparted this intense wisdom to her has suggested that there is a very real entity, a very real being, which presumably has consciousness and willpower, and it's called a spirit. This particular spirit has rank and character of a sort which can be described as evil, and that this spirit, or whatever, is capable of actually wreaking havoc in a relationship. My instinctive response to that was bullshit, and for a very good reason. As an occultist, yes, at times and under certain circumstances it does seem that there are these things called spirits. It does not mean to say that they exist, for I have no direct evidence that these things are in fact outside of myself or outside of my mind. I have no proof of that whatsoever. And this is me talking as a spiritualist and an occultist and someone who does mediumship and someone who does divination. I have got no proof that the spirits which I experience, see, sense, feel, hear, and all the rest of it are something outside of myself. Secondly, to say that this thing, that no one has any proof of their objective existence, can be of a rank called evil, is very strange. Because what is good for one person is evil for another person. If I make a living through selling drinks at a bar, I'm doing myself good because I'm earning money, but I'm doing someone else harm because I'm damaging their liver. So it's good for me, it's evil for them. The idea of good versus evil is not good. It's pathetic. So we've got this unprovable entity which has a rank which does not realistically exist in any meaningful sense, which, according to this particular person, has some kind of capacity to harm the relationship of my friend, which is, of course, also completely unproven. Now, let's just think about this for a minute, and bearing in mind that I am not an atheist. I am a spiritualist, an occultist. I do mediumship, I do tarot readings, all the rest of it. I cast circles and generally do a wide variety of strange supernatural stuff. Why I think that the phrase that there is an evil spirit which is harming you is in fact rubbish. The person who came out with this phrase has essentially jumped to a conclusion. Jumping to a conclusion is a leap of faith. When it's a leap of faith, it is a religious statement. Religious statements are, by their very nature, untrue because they are beliefs. Beliefs, by their own nature, are restrictions and restrictive because they are worldviews which are not based upon concrete knowledge. So, although I myself can do a ritual in which I summon a demon from the infernal pit, and it seems to have some kind of manifest presence in my own environment, and I seem to be able to at times send it out and someone else can get an experience of a presence or something affecting them in their dreams, which seems to be in order with what I have created, does not again mean to say that there is a separate entity. Maybe there's some instance of telepathy happening here, we don't know. All we can do is work with what we've got, and that is a few experiences. And experiences are not proof of anything. We can make some extrapolations, but we cannot jump to the conclusion that this thing is a spirit. We cannot jump to the conclusion that this thing is conscious. We cannot jump to the conclusion that this thing is evil. Anyone who is involved with the supernatural, such as myself, needs to be able to strongly criticize their own beliefs. Anyone who cannot do that and spouts out these terrifying phrases, because like these phrases that people use, such as there is an evil spirit, this, that, and the other, we've got to guard ourselves. We've got to guard ourselves intellectually. We've got to guard ourselves emotionally. Human beings prefer to simplify things. Humans enjoy scaring the wits out of other human beings. It's a form of power control. It's a form of power play. But it's also using lies, and lies which, because they can't be proven, create inside the minds of the people who hear it fear that maybe it's true, which is also a danger. When I go to a church and I hear people saying that Jesus is the Son of God and he is good, I'm also hearing the same kind of problem. I'm hearing a belief that there is this thing, this entity called Jesus, that he comes from a certain source which they call God, and that he is of a certain rank and character which they call good, despite the fact that in a church I've experienced racism, prejudice, hatred, violence, all sorts of things. So, we've got to see that these statements, these ontologies, are bullshit. We've got to see that, as an occultist, that there is an alternative explanation, namely that an experience happens, that's all. I can say, I had an experience, it was a dream or a vision or whatever, and this, that, and the other seemed to appear in it. What I can't say is, there is a spirit. This spirit is going to attack you. This spirit is evil, and therefore powerful, with like long teeth and horns and all the rest of that shit. I can't do that. When I was involved with pagan groups, I would always have these extreme leap of faith, these extreme beliefs put my way. Each and every single time they were unproven. But because they were unproven does not mean to say they're real. Okay, so when you're out there, be careful of what you hear, be careful of your attitude to what you hear, and stay safe. That's all I'm saying, Experiment, have fun, and learn to disbelieve to save your sanity. Alright? Good fortune and God bless one and all.